Hello and welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, I will be talking about electromagnetic waves and mutation. So, what is an electromagnetic wave? When a charge accelerates, it emits an energy in the form of an electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic waves are waves that consist of oscillating electric and magnetic fields that travel through space with a speed of light. These waves, unlike sound or water waves, does not require a medium to propagate. So it means that it can travel through a vacuum. The energy carried by these waves is called electromagnetic radiation, and it spans a broad range of wavelengths and frequencies, most notably known as the electromagnetic spectrum. Just like everything in life, electromagnetic waves has its own properties, some of which are transverse waves. Means that oscillating electric and magnetic fields are perpendicular to each other and to the direction of wave propagation. And then the next is electromagnetic waves travel at the speed of light in a vacuum, and their speed in a medium depends on the material's permittivity and permeability. Next, electromagnetic waves exhibits properties such as reflection, refraction, diffraction, and interference. And the last two are electromagnetic waves carries energy and momentum as stated in this equation, and then electromagnetic waves are unaffected by electric and magnetic fields as they don't carry any charge at all. The electromagnetic spectrum consists of 7 types, which are radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet waves, X-ray, and gamma rays, each with their own wavelengths and frequencies. And at the very bottom, we have the radio wave with the longest wavelength and the lowest frequency. And at the very top, we have the gamma ray with the shortest wavelength and the highest frequency. Each type of these waves has its own uses, such as radio waves. They are used for broadcasting, navigation systems, and radio astronomy. Microwaves, they are used for wireless communication and most known by microwave ovens. And then the third, infrared radiation. They are used for thermal imaging and remote controls. And then the next is visible light. They are used for lighting and displays such as LED bulbs. And then for photosynthesis, lasers and holography. The next one is ultraviolet radiation. They are used for tanning, vitamin D synthesis, and sterilization and disinfection. Next up, X-rays. They are used for medical imaging and security and baggage scanning as used in airports. And then finally, we have gamma radiation. They are used for cancer treatments, sterilization, and PET scans. So far, we've only been talking about its uses and how it benefits us. But how about its downsides? So, all types of radiation, if exposed to in a prolonged time, can lead to severe damage, often resulting in genotypic mutation. Radiation is separated into two categories, ionizing and non-ionizing. So, in simpler terms, non-ionizing radiation are the ones that do not damage the DNA, with the exception of UVC radiation. Though, not to be underestimated, non-ionizing radiation can still lead to severe damage. They are mostly known for the heat damage to tissues. Here are the radiations that fall into ionizing and non-ionizing categories. Pause the video if you want. Okay, so let's take a look into a real-world case of ionizing radiation. X-ray was first discovered by Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen in 1895. He found out that X-rays are capable of passing through human tissues and imprint shadows of metals and bones onto a film. He frequently exposed his and his wife's hands to capture one of the earliest radiographs in history. But unbeknownst to him at the time about the dangers of ionizing radiation, he and his colleagues did not use any protective measures at all when working with X-rays. Though fortunately, he did not suffer any severe damages regarding this radiation, unlike Clarence Daly, who was working with Thomas Alva Edison at that time. He died after 8 years of experimenting with X-ray, and his cause of death was radiation-induced carcinoma. Well, initially it was only severe radiation burns, but it led to necrosis and metastatic cancer. Necrosis and induced cancer means that ionizing radiation is capable of disrupting cells to their DNA level. So, what can we do to avoid these dangers? For ionizing radiation, there are much that we can do to avoid this. The bare minimum that we can do are minimize exposure, wearing protective gear, and then staying away as far as possible from radiation sources. The next is, what can we do to avoid non-ionizing radiation? The first that we can do is avoid standing too close to high-intensity EMF sources, for example, radio towers or high-voltage power lines, radar equipments, and such. And then to protect ourselves from UV rays, we can wear sunblock. And then one of the most important aspects that we can do is follow safe use guidelines and workplace safety measures. That's all that I have for my presentation. Thank you for listening.